Cloud. There we go. And we may have some people watching the replay, but I know everybody in here currently is, well, except with the exception of Kara, because I think she's in the test group for 30-day breakaway, is doing your program currently and loving it. P.S. your like push-up challenge you did the other day. Can't do that. We're not at that level quite yet, but we tried and it was funny. But I think that, you know, for this call, you guys, I wanted everybody to kind of ask their questions of Megan and really just dive into that for like the next 15 minutes or so, rather than going over the, you know, the basis of like what this program is and all that stuff, because we know. And so I'm really excited about MBFA dropping. I was really upset we couldn't just go right into it, but it's coming out Monday, so we're super pumped about that. I guess my biggest question with that is, what should we be expecting? Like, what's the biggest difference between, you know, MBF and MBFA?
Yeah, so I've been saying that I don't want anybody to psych themselves out about that little A at the end of it. Like, okay, now it's advanced. And I know some people already are going, well, that one's not for me, and I'm just going to keep doing MBF, or I need to do MBF a couple more times before I get into MBFA. I don't want you to already be psyching yourself out, because the biggest difference is 5 minutes of work. And if you guys have been doing MBF already, you guys can do 5 more minutes of work. It's 2 more minutes in your AMRAP. It's a couple of Megan minutes sprinkled throughout. The Megan minutes are going to be heavier weight training intervals. So you're going to do your block, you're going to do a Megan minute, and then you're going to do your jump rope. So it's just kind of adding a little bit more time, 1 minute of time to each block. So I don't want you to think that this is like a huge jump of MBF and MBFA. It's more like the next step up. And we've been preparing you guys for this for the last 3 weeks of you guys doing MBF, and you're gonna be ready to go into MBFA. Every single person in my test group, in my success starters, while they were nervous about it, I had to kind of coach them up and be like, you're ready for it. They all took that step and they all had success. So right from the beginning, you know, pump your challengers up to take that step. If you have to modify, if you have to move slower, if you have to drop down in weight, then that's all fine. Challenge yourself and you're going to see amazing results through MBFA.
Awesome. Guys, you can either literally just unmute yourself and talk to Megan and ask your questions, or you can drop it in the chat and have me ask if you don't feel comfortable doing that. I don't want to take over the whole conversation, so if you have questions, ask them. But my other question, I guess, would be this. I feel like, and this is a personal question, so I feel like in MBF, the first week, I think the scale moved like 4 pounds. And other than that, I felt like it kind of stayed the same. And so, and then I felt like my AMRAP stayed the same too. So my question for you is, because I know some of the test group people said that you had said, don't move your bracket for food and whatnot. What is your personal opinion on that? And do you think it's just like muscle? Like what is your ideas on that?
So there's a couple different ways this usually goes. Either we take a bigger jump at the first week and then we kind of stall out and we're worried, or sometimes we gain a couple pounds in that first week and we're worried, and then the opposite starts happening later on in the program. So for both of these, when you're starting a new program, when you're doing something new like weight training, and it's a different style of weight training, a lot of times when your muscles are sore, they pull in water to recover, and that's why you might see a small jump in the scale. On the other hand, some people's bodies, they're ready to lose some in that first week, and so they'll see the scale jump down 4 pounds, but that 4 pounds is a pretty big jump in 1 week, especially the first week. So I would say that you're looking for a 1 to 2 pound weight loss per week, and then think of that over time. So you're still in that 1 to 2 pound weight loss, even if you hit all 3 weeks. Even if you only lost 4 pounds in the 3 weeks, you're still in that 1 to 2 pound weight loss range. So I would think of it more like that, because that is a healthy, sustainable weight loss. And sometimes it kind of plays that game of it drops real quick and then it stalls out, and then it's going to drop and it's going to stall, and it's not going to look like a perfect straight line. It's going to kind of look like, you know, success is going to kind of go like this as far as our weight is concerned. So, so I wouldn't be so concerned. If you have gone like 2-3 weeks and you're still not seeing the scale move, then I would say maybe make a small tweak. And it may not be jumping a whole bracket down. It might be just like changing something as much as like 150 calories, which is like a snack pack worth of food day to day, because that 150 calories times 7 is going to equal a lot of calories by the end of the week, and you'll start seeing that scale move again. So sometimes it's not an entire bracket. Sometimes it's just a small tweak that we have to make too. So, you know, don't be scared to make those tweaks either. One of my pet peeves that I've been talking about lately has been people that come to me and say, well, I'm doing your program and I'm doing, you know, either 2B mindset or UPF, and I'm doing everything right and the scale's not moving. And I'm like, well, that's funny. You're doing everything right, because I'm not doing anything right or everything right. You know, it's not a perfect system. It's not a perfect, you know, every once in a while, we're going to have to reevaluate what we've been doing. And if we're still on the right path, and if we need to make these little tweaks. And this is a constant flow and evolution of what you're going to be doing with your nutrition and workout. So we never arrive at the perfect nutrition and the perfect workouts and the perfect everything. This is, like I said, a constant evolution and flow. So be open-minded to the fact that these little tweaks need to be made here and there to keep us moving in the right direction too.
Does anybody else have a question?
So I have a question. I have one. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
So I love the asymmetric work because I have a significant, like even a visible difference from my right side to my left side. So what I find is that I can do so much more with my left side that is stronger, and my right side, like I could do a 20 pound with my left side, but can barely get through a 15 pound with my right side. Is there anything other than just continuing to cater to the weaker side, or what are your suggestions with that?
I would continue to cater to the weaker side, only because if you made that difference and you started lifting heavier with one side, and especially lifting heavier with your stronger side, you're just going to exacerbate that difference.
Right. So yeah, I kept them the same, but it's just like I'm using my left side with the 15, and I'm like, okay, this seems not easy, but it's, you know, much significantly easier than doing it with my right side.
Yeah. And
it'll just even out someday.
Yeah, it just takes time. Like muscle and strength is a slow and patient process to gain, which is another point to the fact of what we were talking about before. When we see that scales jump up, sometimes people are like, you know, they gain 2 pounds in a week and they're like, must be muscle. And I'm like, you didn't gain 2 pounds of muscle in a week. That's not how it works. So it's a slow and patient process. And so even with that, it's going to be a slow and patient process, unfortunately, because nobody wants that answer, right? But it's right. The truth of the matter is it's just going to take time, and that gap will slowly close. You'll get stronger on that side, and then you'll be able to, you know, start lifting heavier weights. But you're going to find that once that gap closes, that your gains are going to be significant. So I think you should just like take, you know, something in that it's going to jump you up real fast after you're done kind of closing that gap.
Okay, great. Something to look forward to.
Yes.
One of my other questions, I've had a lot of our challengers asking about if we're feeling back pain during this. And I know that for me, I know some of the moves we're holding our weights up here and here while we're doing squat moves and things like that and lunges. Is it okay for them to be modifying with, you know, like lowering the weights, or do you want them to go lighter on their weights? What's your advice for that?
So those moves in particular are in there to challenge your core and posture more. And so it's not just like our abs, but going into the low back, and then as you guys will feel, even creeping up into the mid portion of your back too. And it's really important to have that strong core as we start to lift heavier. So those front squats were like purposely put into MBF. So what I will say is this, is not everybody is going to be ready for the amount of volume that those blocks have in them for that. And so my advice would be to maybe go one round where we hold up at our shoulder on each side. Then the next round, when we come back to it, hold down at your hip or where is comfortable for you. And even if you want to go heavier when you hold down by your hip, you can, and slowly start working till we get to the point where we can hold both rounds at our shoulder as well. So that way you can start slowly building up instead of feeling like, okay, well now I can't walk tomorrow because my back hurts so bad. So allow your body that grace and start building up into it.
Gotcha. What was your question, Meg? Hi, Megan. So my question is, we've been doing a Zoom workout every morning. There's been like 6 of us who have been doing your workouts. We love them, but we're finding that we're challenging each other with lifting heavier. And I would just found like with the tracker, there were sometimes I had to lift lighter for some of the moves, like week over week. And some of the moves I could go heavier. So what's your thought process on that? Like, should we, should we at least do the same, or there's some weeks where we should be going down?
I would say, so in the asymmetrical blocks, there's always the first move that stays the same week to week. So in each of the strength training days, you're going to have 2 moves that we kind of prioritize. And I would say those are really the ones that you want to focus on taking those steps up. And you might not be able to go up a step every single week. I love that you guys are challenging each other every single week to go up.
Ruthless. It's ruthless. Jessica on this call, she's always calling me out, right?
And that's amazing. If we went up in like forever, like then we would all be like lifting 100 pounds in a couple of weeks, and like it's just not realistic. So at some point, you're probably going to have to stick for a while. But yeah, I really want you guys kind of focus on those 2 exercises in particular. What I pair with those 2 exercises is usually something that, yes, does tweak slightly week to week, but it's a similar exercise. You should still kind of be able to go with that similar weight when you step up in those asymmetrical blocks. In the strength blocks where we have 2 dumbbells, those are a little bit more like accessory lifts. So they're going to change week to week, but that's why, multiple ones of this program are going to be you can kind of track your scores for those exercises as well. And next time you come back for the next round, you can go a little bit heavier here there too. So I would say those 2 asymmetrical exercises in each strength training is really the ones that you're going to prioritize lifting heavier every single week.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Amen. And keep pushing each other with the AMRAP.
We've been doing that. I do have one more question, because I know I have quite a few people who are interested in like starting next week, and they're worried about not having the bod ropes. And I know a lot of us were improvising in the beginning. I know Katie was using socks and tennis balls. I was using air rope. Like, what are some of your suggestions? Because we're recording this call, and I know a lot of people on our team will listen to this. So what are your suggestions if they're not getting the bod ropes for it to start?
I would say the only thing that's going to stop progress is not getting started. Like, the bod ropes add a layer to this program, but they are not the program. And you're going to get your heart rate up. You're going to get the same effect by aerobing.
Uh-oh. Are we frozen?
There's just like some sort of loud static happening.
Oh.
It's the usual Meg.
Oh, it's Meg's computer. Can you hear us now? I have a ghost in my computer and I can't control it.
So I would say the bod or air roping and just mimicking the bod rope, using the socks with the tennis ball in it, getting innovative. I've seen people use dog toys, like rope dog toys, and swinging those. Small stuffed animals I've seen. I don't recommend holding dumbbells. It just doesn't move in the same direction, and I just envision a lot of shoulder impingement over time by holding dumbbells in your hands. But other than that, it's a tool to get our heart rate up. And so will it add a layer to your program once you get those bod ropes in? Yes, but that's more about the coordination side of it more than anything. You're still going to get your heart rate up without them. So I just really recommend getting started, and despite all obstacles, showing up for your workouts, showing up for your nutrition, and not letting something like, a bod rope stop you, because it's certainly not the entire program.
Our dogs are trying to escape off a deck that doesn't have stairs, so Meg is trying to help that. I want to know, well, you guys, anybody else have questions? I don't want to I'll just keep asking if nobody else has them. Mariah, you got something?
I was just wondering if there's anything that you do in conjunction with your workouts and while you're doing a program to work on your mind, like podcasts or personal development books, or like what you think about while you're working out.
So it's funny because my boyfriend Eric and I have been working out together, and I think he's more of a every once in a while he's cracking jokes and stuff, and he's doing something, and I'm like I'm trying to work out. What are you doing? I get very serious and focused. The only thing I'm thinking about is my workout. I'm like, how can you even talk to me right now? What's happening? But Eric's been listening to the Joe Rogan podcast, which I wanted to start. I would say
Eric
also,
and Ryan. They're the same.
and I think I also just recommended and just read a book called Coach to Coach. It's by a guy called named Martin Rooney, who happens to be a friend and a mentor of mine. And it reads a lot like a long story. It literally reads like an old coach, having this experience with a newer up and coming coach. And he's teaching him all of these life lessons on how to be a coach, and really more about how to relate to people than anything else. Not necessarily the some motivation factors and things like that, but more about how you relate with people. So I thought that was a really good book too. Failing Forward is one of my favorites. That's just one that I talk all the time about, not being afraid of failure, especially even when it comes to lifting. People get so disheartened when they have to go down in weight or something. And I'm like, if I gave you 10 reps and you only got 8 because you tried to go heavier in weight, I am so excited about that. I do not view that as a failure at all. And so sometimes people get very oh, but I had to go down in weight on that set. And I'm like, great. You found your ceiling. You found what those limitations are. You know how to push yourself now. If we're doing the same thing day in and day out and you're never hitting that limit, I'm more concerned about that than I am about when we have to, drop down in weight because we picked up too heavy of weight. So those are probably my 2 favorites for that, for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? I think we have time for one more question. Nobody's jumping in. I'll ask my last question, which is, I want to know what your nutrition plan is. What are you eating? Because I know everybody follows something different, and whether it's, whatever. So we're just curious about that.
Yep. So I've been doing this a long time. I've been in the fitness industry since I was 14. I've probably been actually a trainer for 16 years now. And so I kind of came into Beachbody already doing my own thing. But once I started learning about UPF and eventually 2B mindset, I really started to realize UPF is kind of what I got started on, because I was a competitor for so many years. That was my lifestyle for a really long time, is portioning out my food every single day and kind of tracking it in that way. Once I kind of got out of the competition world, I would say a lot of my stuff follows 2B mindset, of just kind of being more intuitive about my food. But I will say, even sometimes then I start seeing my portions go from this to this to this to this. And I have to go back to my measuring out my food again. But as far as actual food is concerned, I'm super plain. I'm eating eggs in the morning and chicken breasts and whatever carb I have, whatever veggie I have. I keep it super simple because I always tell people that I don't like cooking and I don't like cleaning up after I cook. So I am not a make these recipes kind of girl. Everybody's like, what's your favorite recipe? I'm like, plain grilled chicken. I don't know. That's more my style. Is Eric goes out and grills for the week, and so we have our protein. I'll stay in and I make whatever veggie for the week and our carb for the week, or some healthy fats, and then we're good to go for the week, and we just kind of pull that way. So that's kind of my go-to way.
Awesome. So I don't know if anybody else has any feedback or anything else that they want to ask while they're on here. I know we had 20 minutes with you. I think we did that pretty quickly. I will just say that I am like so grateful for this program. I'm so happy that they finally did something with you other than just clean week. You are so crazy good at queuing. You can tell that you've been in the gym with people, working with them one-on-one and in groups for like a long time. I don't have to look at the screen to know what's coming next or to know how to do something because you're just so good at it. So I wanted to say that. I love the different moves. I feel like it's so different than the other programs that we have, the EMOMs, the AMRAPs, like style of workouts that, you know, you see other people doing online that I think that we're so grateful to have that now as part of Beachbody. And so I just wanted to say that and say that we're so grateful for it and we're loving it. And I can't wait to start advanced on Monday.
Thank you guys so much. And I'm just like as appreciative, like right back to you because you know, I always say that I make a workout program, but it doesn't get out to everybody unless you guys bring it to everybody, unless you guys are holding people accountable and giving them that support and helping them get those results. And, you know, a lot of times that doesn't happen if they are just pushing play. It is Team Beachbody. It is you guys holding them accountable that has made people so excited about this program. So I just appreciate you guys and love you guys right back for showing up every single day. So thank you. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Megan. I'm glad that we got to see you again.
Thanks.
And I can't wait to send you my results after these next 3 weeks.
Thank you,
Enjoy
everybody.
your weekend. Bye, guys.